Hello guys, welcome back to the video on Status Forecast Weather Channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over the northeast storm that is going to be impacting the northeast today and tonight, and lingering into the day tomorrow. We're going to be primarily focusing on this northeast storm that seems to be a very significant storm that's going to create a lot of problems for a lot of people. So, we're going to start out the video by talking about the warnings, watches, and advisories and then we're going to get into future radar and all of that other stuff. So yeah, let's get into this. So currently we're dealing with a high wind warning for much of eastern Maine, and this includes down as far south as into southern Maine. That extends all the way down into parts of southern New England. This includes parts of far eastern Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, areas like that. There's also a winter weather advisory for parts of western Maine for that freezing rain that's occurring right now, and there's also a flood watch for the entire state of Maine and parts of Vermont and New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Massachusetts for the massive amount of rainfall that we're going to be getting in just the next 24 hours. Between 2 and 4 inches, pretty much for the entire northeast out of the system. So yeah, there's that. Alright, let's get rid of the radar right now. Alright, so here's your current radar. So you're talking about a freezing rain for much of the mountains and northern Maine, and then you're talking about a widespread rain ranging from all the way from Bangor, Maine, all the way to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Just some widespread rain all over the place, and it's been raining for a good couple of hours now. As you can see, that rain has been just continuing. That freezing rain is probably going to cause some issues. So let's get right into the future radar. Alright, here we are. So this is the future radar again. We're just dealing with some freezing rain in the mountains and up in the northern parts of Maine. This includes areas of New Hampshire as well. And then this rain is going to continue coming with this low pressure system. We're going to watch this one go through. It's going to be an all-day rain event for much of the northeast this morning and throughout the afternoon. And then we're going to watch this line set up right here. We're going to watch this squall line set up right around western Massachusetts and western Connecticut. So with that being said, this is also going to bring a severe weather threat. I did not expect them to upgrade this, but it has been upgraded. I'm going to take a look at that severe weather threat in just a minute. But we're going to watch the squall line. The squall line is going to be where the heaviest winds are going to be. So here we go, and then it's out of here by Thursday morning, and it's out of here, and then this lake effect snowstorm turns on. Lake effect snow event turns on. So lots of heavy snow to come and mixed precipitation, and then that is out of here. This is not going to be a big snow maker. It's just going to be more of a heavy rain and wind threat. So there's that. We're going to take a look at the severe weather threat right now, okay? Alright, so here's the severe weather threat. So it's been upgraded to a slight risk for all of the mid-Atlantic coastline up through southern New England as well. The tornado risk is not for the New England area, it's for the southern eastern North Carolina area, and this extends all the way down to parts of northern Florida. The wind threat is what we're most concerned about for the northeast, with that slight risk of severe weather. For that wind risk is a 15% risk. They might upgrade this to a hatch risk along the coastline of New England for the extreme winds that are going to be happening down there. There's no hail risk out of this. I thought there might have been, but apparently not. So there's that. Alright, now we're going to go through the future radar. Alright. Okay, so we already went through the future radar, my bad. So that squall line is going to come through. We're also going to take a look at the GFS model, okay? Let's take a look at the GFS model. So freezing rain this morning and then scattered rain this afternoon, and it's really going to fill in. That squall line is going to start to make its appearance, and it's going to come through. And these winds are going to be associated with, those strongest winds are going to be embedded in this squall line. We're going to see some thunder and lightning out of this, probably as far north as Maine. Would not shock me at all. And it's going to be just a widespread downpour, okay? Widespread area of downpours. In that squall line anyways. And parts of southern New England, this includes Connecticut, Rhode Island, and areas in Massachusetts, are where we're going to see that severe weather threat. Now, it's mostly going to be for those damaging winds. And the other reason it's really a severe weather threat is because it would not be severe weather threat if there was no thunder or lightning. Since there's going to be thunder and lightning, they're obviously going to put in a severe weather threat for that wind threat. So I would expect maybe a hatch risk of severe hatch risk of severe weather for far southern New England, southern Connecticut, southern Rhode Island, for that extreme wind of up to close to hurricane force wind gusts. So then the GFS model, the back end snow, the problem with this is this low pressure system doesn't get strong enough until later, until pretty much the entire thing is over with and that precipitation ends. So you're just going to get a few inches out of this, maybe up to 3 inches or more, and then it's out of here. And then that lake effect snow machine turns on once again. So now we're going to take a look at the total precipitation expected out of this entire system. So the GFS model has upgraded this just a tad to a widespread area of 1 to 4 inches, 1 to 3, maybe 4 inches for pretty much the entire northeast. And then for the European model, we'll see what it does with this. So yeah, pretty much the same thing. A widespread area of 2 to 3, maybe 4 inches for all of the northeast, or 1 to 4 inches, I should say, for all of the northeast. For that snowfall amount, let's take a look at it. So for that snowfall amount, we're talking about a dusting to an inch up in northern Maine. We're talking about a dusting to a couple of inches, maybe upwards of 5 to 7 inches in far southern New York, Pennsylvania, parts of pretty much the entire state of Vermont, those Great Lakes regions, Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, areas like that. For the GFS model, let's see what it does with this. Pretty much the same thing. So when according to a few inches of snow, according to 2 inches up in northern Maine, an inch to as far as, I think this is like around 10 to 12 inches here, 15 inches, about an inch to 15 inches for much of around the lake areas, Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, for pretty much the entire state of New York, parts of Pennsylvania, for the entire state of Vermont, New Hampshire. Most of those areas are going to be seeing anywhere from a coating to about a few inches of snow, maybe close to 6 inches in some spots. Now we're going to take a look at those temperatures, because those temperatures are really going to rise. So the GFS model has us in the 20s right now, and close to 30 in the state of Maine, and then 40s and 50s in southern New England. Those temperatures are really going to rise, and we could see some temperatures close to 65 at this point, and then those temperatures are really going to rise for Maine as well, up in the 50s, and there goes that threat. And then these temperatures are really going to crash after that, and they're really just going to crash down in the teens and 20s by Friday. For the European model, 20s to near 30, 40s and 50s in southern New England. Then these temperatures rise again, 50s to near 60, much of New England, and those temperatures crash once again. Alright, now we're going to take a look at the winds, because the winds are probably what you're most concerned about. Alright, so here's the winds. So obviously this morning they're pretty quiet out there. Maybe some locally higher winds in Lake Erie. Some of the winds offshore are a little bit gusty out there this morning, not too bad, but it's really this afternoon when they get impressive. So between 20 and 30 miles per hour for much of the coastline of Massachusetts and Connecticut and Rhode Island, and then along the southern coastline of Maine as well. And then as we go into later this afternoon and evening, those winds really get gusty, especially in down East Maine, where they could be sustained anywhere from 25 to 40 miles per hour at times. And then for the GFS model, we'll see what it shows. 10 to like 40 miles per hour right along the coastline, and 10 to 30 miles per hour inland for much of southern New England, and then that wind threat comes inland for parts of Maine, anywhere from 15 to 40 miles per hour right along the coastline of Maine, and 15 to 25 miles per hour, maybe 30 miles per hour inland. So that's for the GFS model and for the European model as well. And this wind threat, and then these winds are really going to kick up in the mountains where that lake effect snow machine is going to turn on. And then this system's out of here and it's out of our hair and everything's quiet again. Now we're going to take a look at those wind gusts. Alright, so here's those winds. Like I said, quite quiet this morning, anywhere from 20 to 30 miles per hour, gusting right along the coastline. It's when we get into this afternoon, these winds really start to gust up. Anywhere from 40 to 55 along the southern New England coastline, and then 30s to near 40 miles per hour right along the Maine coastline. Then these winds really start to ramp up around 5 p.m., 50 to 60 miles per hour right along in the Massachusetts area, and then around 40 to around 60 miles per hour in Maine. And then these winds really will ramp up around 8, 9, closer to 10 p.m. These winds really increase 60 to 70 miles per hour in Maine, and then 60 to 70 miles per hour along the down east coastline, and 60 miles per hour inland. And then it's out of our hair. 40 to 50 miles per hour along the far eastern Maine. And then for the GFS model, it's much of the same story. These winds really start to ramp up for southern New England later this afternoon, 4 p.m. around that time frame. 50 to near 70 miles per hour in Massachusetts, Connecticut, and Rhode Island, and then 40 to near 50 miles per hour right along the Maine coastline. We're going to fast forward to 8 p.m. 60 to 70 miles per hour right along the coastline of Maine and Massachusetts and the southern New England coastline. It might be gusting locally higher right along the coastline of Maine. Winds gusting as high as 60 to 70 miles per hour right along the down east coastline of Maine, and 50 to 60 inland through 10 p.m. And then those winds expand 30 to 50 miles per hour for much of Maine through 12 a.m. And then 30 to near 40 miles per hour and 50 to 60 miles per hour, 30 to 40 western Maine, and then 30 to 60 miles per hour in eastern Maine. And then it's out of our hair, and then things calm down. It's going to be a gusty day for the day on Thursday, so power crews might have some trouble getting up to those trees to secure power for people, since the winds are still going to be gusting out of the west. So yeah, there's that. Now we're going to take a look at that severe weather potential. Alright, so here's the most unstable Cape. So the reason they're putting up this risk is because of that right there. And then it gets, so later this afternoon and evening for southern New England, and then far southern Maine and down east coastline for throughout this evening and overnight. That's the most unstable Cape. Now we're going to take a look at the bulk shear. So so right in southern New England is where you're seeing those yellows. That's where that shear is most, and then it gets really intense up into Maine. We're not expecting tornadoes out of this, but this is obviously an indication of very high wind gusts. Now we're going to take a look at the energy available. So it really gets intense into Maine. So southern New England first thing this afternoon, and then later this evening and overnight for much of Maine, and then it gets out of here by later tonight and overnight tomorrow. Here we can take a look at the energy available. So there's not a whole lot of it, but there's some in southern New England. So we're not expecting a major severe weather event. We're just talking about some generalized, localized severe weather. Supercell composite, again, there's not much there. And then that's over with by Friday. Significant tornado perimeter, I'm not even expecting anything out of this. Maybe some in southern New England, but other than that, it's not really that big of a deal. We can take a look at the photographs as well. This is the surface-based Cape. So yeah, there's that. Nothing much out of it either. So yeah, we can also take a look at the dew points. I forgot to mention that. The dew points, they're really going to rise. So 50 to near 60 in southern New England. That's why they're thinking a severe weather threat is possible. And then 50 to 55 along the down east coastline and southern coastline of Maine. And then for the relative humidity, it's pretty intense here. That dew point is pretty intense, between 50 and 100 for humidity. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, what to watch out for tonight is obviously those damaging winds will be able to drop trees, break tree limbs, cause probably lots of power outages. We don't know an exact estimate of numbers right now, but it's probably going to be a pretty high number with how impressive these models are staying with these wind gusts. Expect some flooding with these major amounts, especially in the mountains, with some of those temperatures melting that snow on top of that excessive rainfall that we're going to be seeing. We can also take a look one more time at that excessive rainfall outlook. So yeah, with that excessive rainfall outlook, a slight risk for much of Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, and then that also extends all the way down through Connecticut and Rhode Island, as well as Massachusetts as well, and then that marginal risk of excessive rainfall for the Cape Cod area, and then marginal risk extends from all the way from eastern New York, eastern Pennsylvania as well, and then that extends all the way down to eastern Virginia and northeastern North Carolina. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, expect hefty winds, hefty amounts of rainfall, some severe weather in southern New England, warmer than average, above average temperatures for a short period of time, probably close to 50 to 60 degrees, maybe close to 65 degrees. So yeah, that's all you have to look out for today and tonight. Just have a action plan in place in case you lose power, a generator or anything like that. But yeah, that's all I have for this video. So yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to never miss our upload. And without further ado, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.